And welcome to the InfoTech podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy Huber, and this is the podcast that discusses the intersection of technology and business. We've had a lot of MSP leaders on lately, and today is no exception. My guest today is Oscar Diaz. And Oscar, I'll let you introduce yourself. You've got a great story. We were talking earlier. You're from Venezuela. You moved to California. I mean, you've got roots there in Canada as well. You've been kind of all over if I'm piecing it together, right? So please tell us your origin story, how you came to Tecbound, and how you got here. Basically, I'll let you riff.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you for having me on. So, yeah, no, probably, long story short. So, yeah, I'm from Venezuela, originally from Venezuela, and I moved to Canada, to Calgary in 2011. And then it came directly, actually, from Venezuela to Calgary. Amazing city here. So, yeah, it's a beautiful city. And my background comes from telecommunication. I used to work in Venezuela at a big telecommunication company, something similar to here in Canada to Rogers, Telus, Bell, or in the US, Sprint, Verizon. And
Sure.
then spent 10 years there. I moved to Calgary and started working, doing some contracting work as IT. And that's when came the idea about let's bring enterprise services, enterprise IT to small business. And that was the initial idea about Tecbound. So yeah, so then around that time, I incorporated Tecbound with that philosophy, and from that moment on, we have been growing. We started working with regular IT, then cloud, and then security, now AI. And the company has grown to a point that we're offering services across Canada. We're working as well in South America. We're looking into potentially start now getting into the US market. So it has been a very interesting journey so far, and then there is a lot of things good to come still. The thing, the one of the interesting thing is that before the thing it was just me, and then now we grow to a point where we are on 20 people plus 20 people, and then it's pretty exciting all the things that had happened in the last 15 years from TechBound.
Sure. Yeah, that's really interesting story. I mean, I think a lot of people hit boundaries a lot before 20 people. A lot of small businesses, I think, they hit those limits and they can never, kind of move through to get to that level. So, what do you think you attributed to that? I mean, obviously, you probably didn't hire 20 people in a quarter, right? So, what was your journey like to get to that point?
Well, I guess it's a combination of the what your the clients ask from you in terms of new requirements, what they're expecting to from you, and also the natural growth, right? So as you start getting more clients, you need more manpower help in order to serve those clients, and especially in our countries here in North America. So we're pretty big countries. So
Sure.
for us to serve someone here in Calgary is different than serving someone in Quebec in the East Coast. So
Of course.
it's
Yeah.
basically that's what triggers all the growth in terms of headcount, and as well as the company start growing, complexity comes, not just the technical complexity, but also accounting, bookkeeping, finances, dealing with banks. So then you need to bring other set of skills, people with those skills in order to deal with those situations. Same as a marketing. Before I didn't have a marketing department, and the person that's running the marketing right now for TechNow is someone that used to work with me a long time ago, and I have to literally beg her to come over and to deal with this. So now she's
Sure.
been working with me for all this time. But yeah, it's kind of the natural progression of business, and as we start adding new services, different people need different skill sets will come.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've seen that at Infotech too. It's easy to add a technician as you add clients, on the technical side. But at some point, you're right, the back office is a huge need. You have to hire people that don't necessarily directly affect, revenue, but there's no way to grow past that, right? So I feel like once you get on the other side of that, it maybe becomes a little bit easier. At least that kind of stabilizes. And it sounds like you're already there and have everything built out.
Yeah, so we're going to now we're in the phase where we need to make sure that the processes that we have right now are the right ones, change the ones that are not working, create a new ones into now we have to be more efficient. So because the it doesn't make sense that to add more overhead as you bring more clients. We have to
Sure.
be able to serve our more clients with the current overhead.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally get that. We were talking earlier, and you mentioned a couple different verticals that you guys had, which I thought was really interesting. So, you know, InfoTech tends to be like a jack of all trades. We have a lot of different industries. And one of my goals as we grow is to develop some more specialized, skills to go after, the dentists or what have you. You guys have already done that. Um, Sounds like you have law firms, which I mean that's a little more common, but you've also got First Nation police services. At least for my American audience, I bet you there's hardly anyone that even knows what that is. Explain that a little bit to us, what that is, and kind of how you found those verticals that sounds like were pretty underserved.
Yeah, so I guess the equivalent in the United States is the Native Americans. Here in
Sure.
Canada, it's First Nations, right? So, and here in Canada, there are 36 self-administrative police services across Canada that serve the First Nation. What it means is that you have a nation, let's say it's the Blood Tribe Police or the Blood Tribe, which is in here in Alberta, south of Alberta. So they have their own police department. The same way the same goes with Mohawk of Ganawage in the East Coast in Quebec. They have their own police department. So, and there are around 36 across Canada doing the serving their communities. They're really good. They're amazing in terms of how they approach to law enforcement, because the way they do it is that they get involved, very, very involved with the community. So the way they proceed is completely different to as a regular police department. But anyway, so they have they have a lot of regulations, a lot of compliance that they need to follow, not just in the province that they're operating from, but also from the federal government as well, in order to be able to operate. So they're expected to operate at the highest level possible, not just for as a police department, but also technically speaking. So therefore, cybersecurity, IT, compliance, that kind of thing. So that's a very interesting. We found out about them because one of them approached to us, and we started working with them. And then I realized that from the point of view of technology, cybersecurity, they were underserved. And then we saw the opportunity not just to have a business, but also to help them to grow as well. And it has been successful, really successful, really for the last 10 plus years.
That's awesome. So would you say that informed like your marketing and like your growth then? Because once you get one of those, I assume it's easier to get more. I mean, they're going to refer you. You're going to learn more about their needs, their specialities, or is it kind of something that just kind of fell in your lap and you went with it?
Well, it kind of so is yes. To your point is once one of them start working with you, if you're doing a good job, then the word start going around. This particular industry works a lot based on trust. So even though that one of them can say yes, Tecbound is the best, they will not believe it. You have to wait. So it takes time, but eventually, once you start basically showing up, they get to know you. They see what you're doing with other police agencies, then they start getting the trust and they start working. So it has been more around from the marketing perspective is to just to showing up when to the events when you get invited, just to always be present. It's going to be more like that. With It's different with the other, probably in my opinion, the other verticals that you have to do a particular campaign, call them, sending things, trying to schedule a meeting. This one is more showing up. They can see you, and then they can see that you're a trustworthy person. And yeah, that's pretty much the way that has gone so far with in this particular niche.
Yeah, I love that. I think trust is a huge thing in our industry. I mean, the amount of data that we deal with and people's, security and like without good IT, businesses at a minimum are going to be not as technically advanced. They're not going to have an advantage. At worst case, I mean, they don't stick around. So yeah, trust I think in the relationships that you build are huge. You mentioned something too that you guys are not just local. You're all over, right? I think you even mentioned that you want to get into the U.S. markets.
Mhm.
How do you do that from a remote perspective? I know that we're pretty focused at InfoTech on Central Illinois. Like I said, being boots on the ground, people still, I think, value us getting in the door and like having that face to face. But it's hard to scale that. At a certain point, you have to either, open up other locations or expand out of your local area. You guys have clearly done that, continue to do that. What's your approach to that? How do you go from, oh, like if a printer breaks and it's a remote location, I mean, what do you do? I mean, you hire somebody locally to that market. How did you guys expand and kind of go down that path?
Yeah, so it is. So there are two things here in the way that we're approaching to this. Obviously, as I mentioned at the beginning, trust is something important. We will need to start from scratch in the US to start building trust. There are different ways to do that. But besides that, the approach for servings, it would be right now two things. One, looking to potentially opening an office there, for example, in somewhere in Florida, for example, if we decided to go to Florida. But also, at the beginning, we will rely heavily in our peer group. So I have a peer group that we meet every week, and we help each other to try to hold accountable and try to grow the business. And if there is somebody that I'm gonna trust to serve my clients, is the people in my peer group.
That's cool.
So and
Yeah.
they're across in the United States as well. So and same way, if you have a client here in Canada for whatever reason, they're gonna trust me to help them with a Canadian client. So that would be one way to do it in a let's say in a easy way, but eventually we'll have to open shop in the US to have an informal presence.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we're in a peer group as well, and I would say that, it is possible to grow an MSP without a peer group, but it is a lot harder, and it takes you longer to get further. I think you guys mentioned you're involved with Robin Robbins. What has been the biggest advantage for you in peer? I don't know how far into your career you joined that, but at least for us, that was a game changer to get in a room with people that were technically competition, but not really, right? Different markets, start picking other people's brains and like really helping you understand industry, tribal knowledge, and it was a huge for growth for us. What's your experience been?
No, it has been great. We joined in 2019, right before COVID, and we, for example, for us during COVID, it was a great time. Believe it or not, from business perspective, we grow during COVID. But the point being is that from that moment on that we joined TMT, we you can see actually what was the before and after in terms of
Yep.
growth, mindset, operation, how would we approach to problem challenges, is that, and that's very has been very helpful. Also, we learn a lot about marketing. I mentioned also about mindset and how to approach things. And I think also very important is that once you get in the room with people in the same industry, I always say to other business owners in different industry that they should be in a peer group, because at least worst case scenario, you learn you're not the only one struggling, that everybody else is struggling or having the same issues. So, and that helps, because then that you don't feel they don't feel that you're alone in
Yeah. Almost like a
this
therapy
journey.
session.
That's
Yeah, for
correct.
sure.
Yeah. So that's correct. So, and then, but from that moment on, so yeah, it has been really helpful a lot. So you can tell actually, you can, if you see Tecbound from 2018 from what it is right now, you will see when the change happened.
Yeah, that's really cool. So 2018, you got 6+ years. Would you say that? I guess I would assume you'd recommend that to other people, but if you're looking at a younger entrepreneur getting into MSP space, maybe 4 or 5 years in, and they're on the fence, right?
Mhm.
What would you say to them, like to the Oscar in 2017?
Yeah, I mean, you have to do it. I would say, I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult because it requires time and money. So to
It's an
put
investment.
to give you an idea, yeah. So for when I started with TMT, so we had to put, I don't know, I think that our first, well, I think we paid like a $20,000 at the moment,
Oh
and
wow.
that
Yeah.
was crazy for me because that was first time ever that I put so much money into something around similar to this. It was crazy. Even I had to chat with my wife. I say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this. Are you okay?" And she was. So, but best decision ever. So that's like my wife always says, I'm breaking barriers. So and now I did it. Now I'm all in, all on this and the part of the marketing and investing in the company, reinvesting in the company. So the sooner you do it, the better, because then if you don't have anything built at the very beginning, you don't have any baggage, then it's going to be easier for you to make changes.
That's a
But
great
if
point.
you're like a 20 years in the in your running your company, whatever you've been running that company, and there you go into this, it's going to be, in my opinion, more difficult to make changes because it's going to completely challenge your worldviews and the way that you're been doing things, and not everybody's ready for that. The other thing is time. So all the information that and I have when I go to another speaking engagement with my peers here in Canada, um, I'm being asked before going into stage if I'm okay sharing what I'm doing. And I say, yes, I'm fine sharing everything that what I'm doing because I'm 100% sure that 99.999% of the people there, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
requires time, requires a lot of mindset changes, a lot of changes in the company, and not everybody is in the right place to start making changes or those type of
Yeah.
changes.
So what can you do to help people get to that point? Because I completely can relate to you. I think all of us owners, we at a point in our business we did everything, right? And so you tend to get the mentality that you're the best one to do all the tasks, and then you hire employees, and it's like, well, they can do it kind of as good as me, but not as good as me. And then sometimes that leads you to be the throttle, right? So you're completely correct, I think, in there's a mentality shift. You have to be vulnerable. You have to have an open mind. You have to maybe even understand or be open to the possibility that other people could have a different perspective and you could be wrong. I mean, none of us are perfect, right? So how do you develop kind of those emotional chops, I guess, to get to the point where you are in a position to help, to accept help and to accept advice from others? Because I think that's the power of peer is that you go into it with an open mind, and if an entire room of people are saying one thing and you're thinking something else, it might be you is the problem, right? But that's not natural for us. How do you navigate that?
Well, that's interesting. Yes, you're right. I think the first step is to, I say, be humble and recognize, be aware of your limitations or one's limitations, right? So that's one thing. So once you recognize that you need to learn from other people, then you're going to be in a better position. The second thing that needs to happen, and this one is the most difficult one, because even for people that I guess are open minded 100% and they're on the sponge, that are ready to absorb everything, still is complicated. Is ego, because the one that the
Yep.
ego is the one that is between you and your goal, right? Because for example, and the one before I was the one doing everything, right? So if now I have a bunch of people working with me, and 100% sure not all of them are going to, especially I used to do servers, for example, used to work with servers, and the guys that are in charge of the servers right now, I'm 100% sure they're not going to do the things the way I do it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But I had to trust that they know. And if something is not working quite well the way I wanted it works, then I have to make sure to learn from them potentially what they're missing, what information they need from me in order to for them to do it the way I want it.
Yeah.
So and let it run. So that basically takes you to delegation, right? To be able to delegate tasks so you can focus on others and other things. So and that's the challenge. But once you get to that point, you cross that bridge and you're comfortable and just help to guide your team, then yeah, the company has to grow. Has
Yeah.
to. There is, I mean,
Yeah.
it is, it's just physics. The inertia
Yep.
is going to take you there. But if you're not, if you're not aware, you have your ego is too big, and you cannot delegate. You're one of those people you think nobody is better than me. Yeah, no, you're stuck. It's going to be always a one man shop. So always.
Yeah. I think people don't realize that either. Like they maybe started a business because they wanted to be their own boss or whatever, and they end up building themselves a job and almost a prison. I mean, can't get away, can't go on vacation because everything runs through you. And that's a tough spot to be in. But to your point, yeah, once you get over that hump and you start, what's the EOS term, delegate and elevate, I think they
Yeah.
say. Yeah, it becomes, I would think, a little bit easier once you get over that hump, as long as you don't regress. I think you do have to stay on it because at least my tendency is to jump back in. And it got to the point, at least at InfoTech, where like me jumping in was making things worse. It's not that I could do better. I'm actually a detriment, right?
That's your
That's
main.
a gut punch.
And mentally, probably at some point, if that happens, people and your team might say, you know what, we're gonna take your credentials away. The only thing that you have access to is your email. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Don't
Wait, what is
go
happening?
away.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all on our own journey, but I think yeah, it's almost an existential crisis when the owner comes to terms with, oh crap, like it is me, I am the problem. Obviously, we want to grow, but that's going to be involving changing how I think about things. But yeah, it has to happen. Um,
Yeah, and
yeah,
to your point on that one is that happens to me recently. But I realized with one particular task that I said I suck at it. I completely suck at it. It's not working because I'm the one creating the problem. So, and I told my team, and then I step out. We have to invest money to fix the problem, but I was willing to do it because I realized, okay, at least we need to try this because I know it's not working because of me. Let's see if this will make it work better. I might be wrong, I might be right, but if I'm right, perfect, everybody wins. If I'm
yeah,
wrong, well, we need to find a different way to fix that problem.
yeah. You got to start somewhere and try. And I got to believe that if you've got the right people on your team, they're probably a little bit repressed. If you're doing everything and you're not giving them permission to step in and help in maybe roles that they are better at than you. So when you get that ball rolling, I think not only do you have less on your plate, but other people then have the opportunity to step up, and it becomes a win-win. It's just not easy to go through that process.
No, it's not easy. It's not easy, especially for business owners. It's not easy at all whatsoever now.
Yeah, yeah. I want to talk about trends a little bit. I try to make these, the current events and as relevant as possible for however long these are out on the internet. But um, AI seems to be a buzzword these days. I don't want to belabor it too much, but I always want to get people's perspective on that because it seems like we're in this transition period where, you've got one end of the spectrum, everyone's freaking out. Oh, I'm going to lose my job. My kid's coming out of college. He's not going to have a job because AI is taking over. There's that kind of fear-based, side. And then the other side is trying to monetize AI, trying to figure out how to integrate it and actually build value for businesses. And from what I can see, we're not quite there yet. Like, there's no silver bullet. What's your perspective, Ben? Not just in Calgary, but like in your customer base. I mean, is it a nice to have type of thing? Are there people going all in on it? What's the sense that you have here in the next 6 to 12 months for 2026?
So it is it's a tricky question, right? Because I mean, from one point of view, you see with AI, we're trying to figure out as an industry, humanity, whatever you want to call it, what to do with something that we have never dealt with in the past. The closest thing that everybody, the philosophers and the experts in the matter is they can compare it against is the Industrial Revolution. There
Oh,
was
sure.
yeah, that it was amazing for humanity in the long run because industrialize everything better, liver standard, everything. But there was a lot of people that was left behind, right? But there is nothing like this that has happened in the past in the history of humanity. So we don't know exactly how that's going to play out. We don't know. So in that sense, you have in one camp, you said you have people that says it's going to be all doom and gloom, and then you have the other people that say it's going to be the best thing ever, right? So we don't
Yep.
know. Nobody knows.
Yep.
So now the challenge for people like me now is that this technology is the one that we have access to, the large language model, right? So one way or another, everybody have access to it. Okay, so if, for example, in cybersecurity, with cybersecurity, we used to block things. For example, you cannot access the website, you cannot access this attachment. We can't restrain this. With AI, we can't. So you have access to ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, free versions, web versions. And then all the users, everybody have enough curiosity to start using it. Point being is that I have business owners that are my clients and their managers, they're using it. And they're thinking for one way, they start asking questions, hey, how could we use this internally? But also, and the other front, I have people say, this is amazing. We don't need A, B, C, and D because AI will do everything. So then where the challenge comes is to have those conversations with your clients and say, yes, it's an amazing technology because it is, but it's not the silver bullet. If you're not careful, you're going to create problems. So it's like the other day in the news, there was a startup company that was using Claude, and someone did something wrong, or the AI understood something wrong and deleted everything, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you're not careful, then it's going to be madness. So point being is, yes, is we are having conversations, and sometimes we were having conversations not because we started the conversation, it's because we were forced to have the conversation. But I think at the end, we're going to try to, with companies like the MSPs, technology companies that are responsible, that they will try to guide the whole process in a responsible manner to implement potentially AI, not because of the sake of AI, but because it's something that it might resolve a business problem in the company.
Sure.
I think that's where the value will be. In terms of people losing jobs, yeah, probably that, again, it's kind of comparing that against the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, there will be people that will lose their jobs, definitely, for sure. But there are other jobs that will be created that we don't know today what those jobs will be.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head there. There's so many things to pick up on. My theme, I think, and my takeaway is that look for the opportunity, right? And be security minded. The fear factor or whatever, it's not going anywhere. So,
No.
yeah, if you're a horse and buggy type person and you see a car drive by, don't be afraid of the car. Like, learn more about it. They're just tools, right? It's yeah, the Industrial Revolution. That's a great. None of us were alive really for that, 1800s or whatever, but it changed the world. And I think this is the next thing. And I have to believe there's probably some fear in our client bases too, that we can kind of already be the trusted advisor and help them navigate some of those things. I think that we're in very early stages still of seeing what the capabilities of AI are. Like it's very new. Like and there's new things that come out constantly. The curve of change seems to be really, really steep, even relative to other things, that we've seen. Um, so yeah, I think you're spot on there. And it's good to have a sense of calm, I guess I get from you. Like, hey, we don't know. Like, there's this fear of missing out, and it's like, well, we don't even know what it is yet. Like, it's still so early. So, yeah, it sounds like you guys are all over that. And I think that the people that get ahead in AI are the ones that are going to be open-minded and yet cautious. Like, it's almost like you need both. You don't want Claude deleting everything, and oh yeah, we were the first to do all this stuff, but we got screwed. But you don't want to be lagging behind either, and be like, well, now I'm have to catch up over the next year or two. So, how do you help customers, I guess, kind of maybe thread that needle, and not be afraid and yet not be left behind?
Yeah, so is the well, my approach is with cautious. I compare this with cloud, when everybody wants to go to cloud, and there was companies popping up everywhere offering cloud services. I do remember, and here in Canada, there was a company. I don't remember the name, also, but I'm not going to name it. That they were offering cloud servers, very very cheap. At that time, not even Azure existed. It was just Amazon. I believe Google was doing something, and these guys were starting offering very, very cheap cloud. And then my clients want to jump on it and say, okay, let's go there. And they went and just say, yeah, hold on, hold your horses there. Let's just check with them to see what it is. And then once I started talking with them, understanding why was it so cheap, is because there were no backups, there was no stability, they were not responsible for anything. So it's just you were buying as it is. That doesn't work. I say, no, we cannot go that way. We need to stay on premise for the time being. So that's the same way with AI. So the way that we're approaching with our clients on this is that, okay, you want to look into AI, the ones that were asked us or the ones that we approach to, okay, let's see what area in the business you have a problem. Let's see what that problem is, if it's impactful for your business, if it's fixed. let's understand what the process and all the processes are associated with that problem, understand what success look like, understand what the KPIs look like, and understand everything so we can measure success. And we understand what the actual problem is. Once we do that, then we will see if AI might be a solution for it, because it might not be as well. So if it is, then we start working, implementing something AI related, and that, because we know at the end what we're trying to fix and how we can know if it's giving return of investment or nothing. So if you don't go that way, in my opinion, then you're gonna end up with one of those statistics that says that 95% of the AI projects don't work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think you should be doing that anyway, right? Learning your customers' workflows, the intricacies of their business, and then AI is just kind of another tool in your tool belt, right? To get further faster. If you're coming in like with a shotgun approach and trying to just splatter, oh yeah, everyone needs ChatGPT, you can do whatever you want with it. I mean, that's going to fall flat, I feel like, unless, like you said, you've got a plan, you've got, uh, you know, an understanding of what the business need is, and then you can kind of fit that together. Just like, anything else that we're doing inside,
Yeah,
IT. So,
the other day I was talking with a colleague about this, and I mentioned to him, for me the AI projects are IT projects. And why? And they're gonna base, and this comment is based on a book that I read, AI Playbook, if I'm not mistaken. They describe what UPS did to implement AI, and that was way before using ChatGPT, so years ago. AI has been around for more than almost 60 years.
sure,
So, and
sure.
the way they approached to this, it was to that problem, and implementing AI was exactly like this. They were trying to fix a particular problem. So
Mm,
they identified the problem. They identified how to what the process around it, what the KPI, all the things that I just mentioned to you. So, in essence, that's an IT project, because you need even if you're implementing a data warehouse, you need to understand what you're trying to accomplish, what you want to get. That's just the ABC of a regular IT project. So I think for me, from that point of view, AI is another tool. It's not a strategy. It's another tool to help in a business strategy of some sort.
yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. No, this has been great, Oscar. I really appreciate your time today. I think if there's somebody listening here that wants to get a hold of you or reach out, you've got a wealth of knowledge, and you guys are killing it. I think in your industry. How would be the best place to get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way to get a hold of me is just I go to our website, which is techbound.com, and there is an option to book an appointment. And yeah, if you can, you're going to go that way, then we'll schedule an appointment with me or someone on my team.
Awesome. We'll definitely. I'll tag that in the notes here on our show notes so people can get a hold of you too. It's really been a pleasure. Maybe we'll have you back on here for next season as well. I've really enjoyed talking to you today, Oscar. Thanks so much for being on.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. That is our episode for the InfoTech podcast. We'll catch you next time.